can see, making their way around the circuit. They will be led, I believe, by the windowfeet.com safety car around another lap before getting the race underway. So we've just about got time to rattle through the random grid that has been drawn in the drivers' briefing earlier on this morning. It is JPR Team LRS who have been drawn on pole position. That car will be started by Antonio Almeida Souza, and Jackpot Racing, the 92, will start alongside them, Chris Brown at the wheel. Rest of the grid, as you can see, cycling through, but Team 3 Motorsport and MJ Tech will share row 2. Signature RV, powered by BPC Motorsport, on the third row, alongside EDF Motorsports with Autotel. Then Team Viking and Ursus Capital Racing will share the
day's worth of racing, hopefully, but for all the right reasons.
I think you are right. Here we go then. A damp track, 1 hour on the clock, pit stops every 20 minutes, and a championship to be settled. Unlikely to be decided in this race, but certainly if they come from the back of the field, Team Olympian could put themselves in a good position going into the decider later on today. 2x2 they run then over Deers Leap and towards the start line, where the 60 minutes of racing will get underway. And from pole position, it's JPR Team LRS who lead the field to Old Hall Corner. A mad scramble there, 4 wide already as they head towards the first turn, and that looks like Team Viking coming charging up the inside, trying to get into third. There's a bit of touching of doors as they turn into Old Hall Corner, but they all just about, I think, have survived a very robust run through the first turn. Already Olympian have made up 1 place from the back of the grid, but as they arrive down at Cascades, there is more leaning on each other. Team Viking have charged through here from 7th on the grid to be 2nd as they exit Cascades for the first time. A fantastic start there, Scott, for the team who sit 4th in points.
That's going to be crucial for them if they can move up and get an early advantage, but we know how quick some of the fast teams are to wet their way through the traffic. Uvio is a classic example. Of course, they're already up there towards the top 5 or so. To 5th position has gone the car of Farkini, and from that Grandaccio. This is a possible change from a lead. Up the inside goes Viking, and it hasn't taken them long to get themselves up into the lead now, so they're going to try and take full advantage as Uvio now tucked in behind the Golf liveried machine of the Signature RV squad. And as for Team Olympian boys, they're already up only about 3 or 4 spots it seems, but it seems they're trying to pick up early doors here as they come up towards the chicane and back over Hilltop once again for the first time. So they're deep in traffic at the moment, trying to get around the 92, but you can see they're trying to cut their way through as they come back up the hill once again, and that now towards the chicane. It seems though that 98 car already trying to put the pressure on as they come back down. As he gets very squirrely under brakes under that damp part of the circuit, sideways moving past the side of Signature. It's all happening. Signature goes around, he almost gets tagged by Green Heat, gets very lucky not to get collected. That's drama from the Golf car early doors before we've even completed the lap of the race.
To many drivers, a 1 hour race is an endurance race. Of course, to Funkum drivers, this is very much a sprint, and it's showing, isn't it, on the opening lap? No one backwards and coming forwards. They all want to try and make progress, but unfortunately, 1 or 2 of them getting a bit robust, and that did involve the team 2nd in the championship, Uvio Hoffman's Motorsport. That car, 225, started today by Farkini, with Fabio taking over for the middle stint, and then Farkini will take the car to the flag, but they sit in 4th place then. EDF, who was sideways before all of that, sit 5th, just ahead of MJ. That's the 249 car, and that is Scott Jeffs, who has taken the opening stint. But Team Viking charging away already. That team 4th in the points. They are 27 points adrift of the championship lead, and so they're in a decent position, but they need to try and outscore the championship leaders by as much as they can. The championship leaders, by the way, have come across the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positions, I reckon, on the opening lap already. You can see that they're the car, but they almost get squeezed onto the grass. That was the Axiometrics car that tried to make a move, whilst Team Olympian were already alongside them, and I think sensibly there, really. Failed out of that to ensure that there was no contact, but I'll tell you what, talk about a race of 2 halves here, Scott. We've got everybody else battling, and in fact on the grass there, there's Team 3 as they headed in wide coming out of Island Bend. And did that create any major dramas? There's no yellow flags for the Marshals post, but they're no longer in 2nd place. Uvio are now 2nd, with JPR Team LRS car back into the top 3, but a for Team 3. There is a change for 2nd. Is this Uvio? I think it is. Uvio straight on at the Britain chicane, and did they sustain, I wonder, Scott, a little bit of damage in whatever happened at the Shell hairpin?
Whatever happens for the rest of the lap is going to be key. If they keep on falling backwards, that'll be key. If they can get back up to speed, then it might. It looks so they're just about trying to get back up to speed. They're roughly separated. No, they've got damage, I think. Is that damage somewhere possibly on the left rear corner of the car, possibly? It looked like either it was damp conditions or something on the suspension, but the car was wiggling around a little bit. Off the road's gone Rass's Racing. It's all happening. Uvio's off the grass as well. This is what, 2 laps in? There's so much happening. Almost, I think it was a literally 15-minute sprint rather than an hour.
I think it's right front, Scott. And that's why the car wouldn't turn left going through the these chicanes.
But it almost looks somewhat asymmetrical. It's almost like it's crabbing a little bit. Two JPR teams that are making the first time. As their ground that goes 2-1-2. That is the EDF car that was in third position. The Auto car behind the channel. The big question is, did he jump or was he pushed? And given he was in that group for second place, it's every still likely it could be the latter, because there's every chance it could be. Obviously, we didn't have a camera to see it, unfortunately, but I'm certain that unless you really caught a damp patch in the circuit, unfortunately, these Fun Cup cars don't tend to go around by themselves very often.
No, although Ireland Bend is renowned for being a particularly treacherous bit of the track, especially when it is a bit damp and greasy. It's a really quick left-hander, one of the fastest left-handers actually in British motorsport. You've got no run-off area, you run right out to the edge of the road. If you get a wheel on the grass, you're going to go around or run wide into the barriers, and if you get it wrong for Ireland, that then gets you on the wrong line into Shell. And I think in trying to rejoin, they have rather gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
Now, a race, they don't really have a lot of time to take, and so they are going to have to get a move on, I think, when the race resumes, which is about to happen now. Through Lodge Corner they come. Already the field starting to accelerate. Uvio, by the way, being wheeled out of the garage, so a very quick repair to that car. They will rejoin the race probably just as the race leaders come by to restart it. It is nose to tail for the race lead, though, and Team Viking lead them through the first corner. The Viking car with a very slender margin over the second place team. That is the BSP car, isn't it? The number 195 that is being driven at the moment by Ted Bradbury. He's been one of the revelations of the Mazda MX-5 Mark 1 Championship this year, and I believe is seriously considering a future in the
I think he caught Viking way off guard there, runs wide onto the curbing, out onto the slippery grass. He loses second and third place by the look of it, yeah, to both the Team BSP and to MJ Tech, and we're back to where we started between Riley versus Bradbury, but it's now for the lead.
Yeah, this should be an interesting battle, because if there's anyone who Riley won't be able to shake off, it's probably Ted Bradbury. Ted has been every bit as fast as Riley when he's raced with us previously this year, and he's on the attack as they head towards Ireland Bend.
Quarter to 11 in the morning, so it's not quite got to midday in terms of peak temperatures yet, so it's still going to be quite damp, and so for the most part, they should go purposely offline. If you go offline to go off the racing line where that dry line is, you're going to find yourself on a damp part of the circuit. So whether you've accustomed the setup to kind of, sort of be used to that, or kind of they go from the dry part to a damp part before to try and push it as hard as they could, given different conditions on mixed surfaces, it could possibly spell disaster for either of them if it's actually build up that confidence and build up that speed with more experience. But for the teams have been doing it, as you say, for season upon season, year upon year, have that regimented kind of pit stop, almost kind of with military precision, if you use that kind of term, to be so used to it, it almost becomes like second nature. It becomes sort of like has made a stop, or is currently making a stop, if you like, is Team Ratters Racing. Highest placed car that's really back out on track again that's made a pit stop is MJ Tech, which sits in 13th at the moment. The rest of the field either has to make its stops or do so. There's still about half the field yet to make that first stop. I imagine there's only about roughly 2.5 minutes to go until that pit window closes.
Yes, indeed so. So it is going to be a interesting strategic game in this race. The strategy you'd think in a 1 hour race would play less of a part, but actually it forms a bigger percentage of the race, doesn't it really, these pit windows being quite long as they are. So the Olympian car doing another lap. Riley Phillips is going to wait. I've just spotted Christian Rose chatting to Chris Devell behind the garages. Chris has got his helmet on, so he'll be getting in very shortly as more pit action.
But they enjoyed themselves so much being in front, they thought, I think Julian Thomas got the bug after Jamie spoke to him and said, we might do some more, and it turns out he's done into there now here at Oulton Park. So maybe
very nearly won at Silverstone, of course, didn't they?
Of course, it was out. It works out. They're on the tail of both, as you say, Team Viking and Team Viking. This is now for 4th, 5th, and 6th on track. So the big winners ultimately have been Olympian. Also, MJ Tech have been a big winner for this first pit window. Biggest losers ultimately have been Team Viking from the lead to 4th. So that's been. And that can be simply down to experience. We're going to throw to Jamie in a second. That can be experience in terms of pit stops, how quick they can be. To find out some more, let's latest.
To do that, but they can't quite get onto their tail as Greenheath do eventually hang on to 4th spot. Down into Ireland Bend they go again. 18.5 minutes to go, which means that we are now into the second and final pit window.
We don't need to be impolite. We say he's obviously not the quickest of the 3 drives, but for him in terms of a stint this year, that's probably, actually thinking about it, probably one of the most important stints, not the most important stint he's done a Funk Cup car this year, because it's kept them in really good condition to keep things properly on track despite the early safety car. So actually, Crystal, I'm sure does a good job in many cases anyway, but in particular, solid stint, really well done, good team play from Chris there. That hands it over to Christian Rose, and that's what the man with the boss's surname can try and get on with. Let's see if we can get on here as really thumping the curb at the Hizzy chicane. Almost running wide there, that's the 110 car, that's the Red Sport car. The Red Sport, it does contain Johnny Bowler, not right now, it doesn't, it will in the final stint. But he's just handed over Barnaby Grimes and Gareth Williams getting stuck in there now. They're currently sat at the moment in 17th place. Now here's a car we should talk about, as we heard these via the GT. This is the 97 car, that's the 246. That's the other Vbox car. EDF have those weekends sometimes where
throughout the pit cycle, it will show us the pit time as well. So the time from pit entry to pit exit, and we've spoken already about how the experienced teams such as PLR can gain so much time there.
It looked like Fonchini was either trying to help.
They were in the 40s. Now, okay, they're a very inexperienced team, but that's the sort of time you can gain. This is why I love championships that don't have minimum pit stop time, Scott.
And it's just down to that, just about it in terms of obviously pit calls. There is 210, Smith chasing down the Rattis racing car. That is 4th position, that's the 10th place on track at the moment, so he's done quite a grand job here getting us the back of the Rattis. And they've really been, as well, talk about Rattis, they've been one of the teams of the season, because they've been a brand new team starting this season. They've taken the Fun Cup so quickly, but at the same time, whenever Jamie interviews them, so enthusiastic, they're so fantastic that even that was just a line, or that car was, I noticed it too, just coming down under brakes, that car looked like it was almost sort of crabbing a little bit under brakes.
I think it is a little bit, yes, it's had a bit of a knock, but that's something I've learned over the years with these Fun Cup cars. Even if that rear geometry does get knocked out, it doesn't break completely very easily, so you can national circuit. It's going to be a 28 lap race. See plenty more laps than that completed in the 4-hour race to come later on in the afternoon. Here, the fight going on in a way for the championship though. Team Olympians still holding on to 3rd place. Can Neil Plimmer find a way past them on the final lap? He's very, very close as they head for Old Hall Corner. Is he going to think about the inside line? No, because Christian Rose carries enough speed into the right-hander. In fact, that wasn't even, it was for position. And the Vikings did get ahead actually by 0.2 of a second. We think we'll update the timing screen in a moment or two, but no, it might well have been Axiometrics who held on to the place. We'll double check that in a moment or so. Here comes Race Logic out of the final corner. Now Axiometrics did hang on by, how much was that, 0.18 of a second in the run for 5th position, but some valuable points scored even for Team Olympian. They come home.